everybody, it's Georgia Rose from Zencuda, and I'm glad you're all with me tonight. It's been a little bit of a hairy last few days. I live in the Northeast, and we had a major storm, and a lot of us have been without power for days, since I guess Tuesday afternoon. Today is Thursday, August 6th, and I want to welcome everybody and give you all a chance to get on in the chat rooms and online on Facebook and online on online. And give you all a chance to sign on for our Zencuda Soul Space. We are broadcasting live every Thursday at 6:30 through govsradioonline.com and also via a lot of different pages on Facebook. So if you'd like to share this broadcast, that would be absolutely wonderful. I would love that. And we'll get started with the show in a few minutes. Those of you who know me know I've been doing the show a while and always used to be in the Govs Radio studios. And since the COVID pandemic, we've been actually kind of pinch hitting and doing our broadcasts through our home studios. And I'm still learning all the drills and things that I have to do. So every week I have to actually share the show. And you got to give me a few minutes to do that. And it'll only take me a couple minutes, I promise. And then I'll be right with you and we can talk about all the fun stuff we've got planned tonight. I actually have something really interesting to talk about. I don't know if you've ever heard of Lionsgate and the Lionsgate portal, but we're going to talk about that tonight. And a little astrology, a little tarot maybe if we have time. We like to do a whole lot of things on this show. So for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Georgia Rose, and I am a psychic intuitive. I am the founder of a company called Zencuda, which is a lifestyle brand of spirituality for people who are on the course of really ascending in their life and living through their soul and their authentic desire. Zencuda is a phrase for all of us who are a little bit zen and a little bit barracuda and very serious about living above the five senses. So I'm just going to share our show on my homepage, which is Georgia Rose, and you can find me there. And I have done that. That's great. And I'm also going to share that to another page that we have, which is Zencuda by Georgia Rose. And the Zencuda page actually is where you'll find all of my events, a lot of inspirational things, and every Sunday I also write a blog on that page. So really some good stuff on there. We're going to share the show to there, and then we'll get started. So I know I already have people online. Hey John, how are you doing? So I hope everybody has their power back on. It took me almost 48 hours to get power back on here. And I have, some generator power and things like that, but it wasn't the same, of course. We all like to have our creature comforts. Isn't that the truth? Okay. So if anybody wants to share the show, feel free to do that. These shows are always banked on YouTube afterwards as well. So you can always watch them back. I always play with the camera angle. I probably make everybody dizzy, right? So I want to talk about Lionsgate, but first I want to talk a little bit about the energy that we've been experiencing in 2020. And it really has been quite the year. I am not one to... I'm not one to rush my life, but I have to say I would be perfectly happy if we were in December of 2020, because I know through my astrology study that we are definitely going to have some fresh air and refreshing energy in the end of December into January. 2021, folks, brings a reprieve for most of us, so that's a good thing to know, right? So as much as I don't want to rush my life, I'm really kind of already over 2020. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I'd love to hear. And I also feel like there's a reason why all this energy's been happening, and I want to kind of talk about that with you all tonight too. So just want to see who's on. We got some friends. John, hey, how you doing? I've got Joanne, I've got Colleen, I got Pauline. How is everybody? I hope you all, Chris. I got a bunch of you on. So I hope you'll have power. I hope you'll have internet, obviously. So this has been such a challenging year. We started with this pandemic, and then we went to all the volatile unrest, and then we went to all these challenges and confrontations and polarity that's in the air, right? So what's it all about? Well, I talk about a lot about what I think it's about and what I think the astrology is about and all that stuff, but I was really doing some contemplation because this past week I had an issue where one evening I almost went to the emergency room, which is against everything that I would ever do, but I was having some really strange feelings in my heart, fluttering, and a whole lot of pressure and weirdness, right? And I knew it really wasn't a heart attack or anything. I knew that, intuitively. And I just knew. I'm not a doctor, so if any of you are having troubles, you go. But I didn't want to do that. So I realized with talking to myself that it was definitely downloads. It's definitely light coming into my heart space. And I started to think about the Lionsgate portal coming in, which we're going to talk about in a minute for those of you who don't know what that is. And I think that we're getting a lot of energy into our heart chakras right now. I think we're getting a lot of energy into the chest area, solar plexus area. And when I think about this energy, the reason why I think that's happening for a lot of us, we're feeling maybe contraction in our heart or fluttering because there's a lot of energy going in. And especially when we are outdoors in the light, I think a lot of that light, oh, thank you, Joanne. I think a lot of that light comes into our heart space and we have to process it and integrate it. So what I did the other night, I actually wrote about this on Facebook a little bit. It was actually the night of the full moon in Aquarius, which was Monday. And I had all these heart-like things happening and my heart racing and it wouldn't really go down. And that morning I finally woke up after a little bit of sleep and I went out to my backyard and I started drumming, and it was a beautiful morning and the sun was just kind of rising over the house. And for those of you who've ever been to one of my in-person events, you know that my drum is a Thunderbird drum. It's a drum that has a picture of a Thunderbird on it that my shaman Al actually created. And it has a story to it, which I won't go into now, but the very first time I ever used it, I was in a gathering and I was doing a drum circle and a Thunderbird cloud appeared in the sky. So I knew the drum was very sacred for me and I was supposed to be using it. And this past Monday morning when I was out in my yard drumming with it, and I suddenly felt the Thunderbird energy come in. And the Thunderbird energy, for American Indian is very, American natives is very forceful, it's powerful, it's independent, it's belief, it's your belief in faith in something. And I felt the energy just come into me as I was drumming, and it was almost like I started to fly and that my fingertips were locked into the wings of this bird and I was flying through the air. And all of a sudden the energy of Aquarius came in. And I know this sounds like I'm crazy, but this energy of the Aquarius full moon and Aquarian energy came in, and it was almost like this Thunderbird came and flew me up to Aquarius. And I could see the future, and I could see all of this energy of heart space, of the Aquarian collective of wanting to serve in the world, and the Aquarian collective of freedom and independence. And I realized that this issue I was having the evening before and a little bit still in that morning with my heart chakra was my heart wanting to open. There's something in my personal life that I'm working through right now with really taking a leap of faith and having that beautiful open-heartedness with this particular thing. And yet my traces, which is what I call them, like bridles on a horse, the traces of a carriage, are pulling at me because my conditioning is telling me not to do it. And so here my heart is wanting to open and expand and beat, and my conditioning of a lifetime of wounds and things that happen is wanting it to hold back and be more steadfast. And so that's why my heart was reacting and acting up, because I really was supposed to be breaking through this enclosure of the three-dimensional world, of the earthbound world, always telling us, don't give everything away, don't fall hard, or don't trust someone, or don't be so open with yourself, don't allow vulnerability in. And we all know that the only way to really have connection in life is to be vulnerable and let it all go. And so I knew, hi Heidi, so I knew that this experience I was having as I was drumming out in my very own backyard, soaring the ethers with when I was just sitting on this beach chair, really what it was about was my own personal freedom and allowing that heart chakra to open and expand. So if you're having palpitations, flutters, and I'm not a doctor, go get checked if you want to get checked, if you think you should. But I think for a lot of us, it is the three-dimensional world wanting to hold us back, pulling those traces on the horse, wanting to hold it back. But our soul, in this beautiful light energy that we have now, this beautiful energy that's coming in to transform us, wants to pull us open. It wants to pull us further into love and vulnerability. And so we're at that crossroads, and there's a polarity there, and we're pushing against it. So just maybe, unpack that idea after the broadcast when you have a few minutes to yourself someday this week, and think about, could that be something in my life that's causing a physical sensation? Because it's been my experience for most of my life that the physical sensations in my body are my body speaking to me about something that's really not physical. It's emotional, but our body speaks to us in an emotional way. When we're tired, that's our body kind of knocking on our door and poking us and saying, hey, take care of me, take care of me. When we have pain, it's the same thing. When we have odd sensation or anxiety, it's because our soul wants to get our attention through the physicality of our body. So that heart space that I was having difficulty with was really about the fact that I've got to integrate some new energy that's coming in, asking me to step up and be even more vulnerable. And even in these broadcasts, being more open about myself and telling you a little bit more about my journey and my story. I'm already very vulnerable on my blog, and we're trying to move all those blogs over to the new Zen Kuda site. There's 5 years of very raw, very emotional blogs about my spiritual journey. And it still is a little revealing when you put them out there, and it's not easy to do. But I always say, I'm going to do it if it helps one person. So that was my experience with the heart chakra energy. And that started to make me think of relating that on the personal into more the macrocosm of what's going on in the world. So I started to really think about all of the astrological transits we've had this year, and all that Capricorn stew that I talk about almost in every broadcast, where Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn are kind of in a logjam. And I started to really think about a lot of the energies that have been coming in through January. And I realized that this is a very deep clearing, a very deep cleansing of the world. More so than we even realize, I think. And I think that this is us coming into a time where we really don't even understand the impact of it yet. And it's going to be in phases, of course. But I think this is, especially over the next 6 months, which is the first phase of this, I think that things are going to get really accelerated and really amplified in some really loud ways. And to explain that a little further, I believe that the reason why all this has happened is to deeply clear us and deeply cleanse us and bring us to a place in our life where we are going deeper and deeper into who we really are authentically. And so we see a lot of this stuff on social media. There's a lot of real polarity out there, with whether it's with police as authority or the political arena of presidencies and senators and governors and all these things. There's so much polarity and so much disconnect of ideas, opinions. People are arguing with friends, canceling people, arguing with family, and it's really volatile. Why would the world be that way? Well, there's many reasons, and I've talked about some of them in previous podcasts, but I also think a lot of it is that it's changing what's been allowed and what we've accepted so far in this planet. And a lot of what we've allowed and accepted, we now are realizing was unacceptable and shouldn't have been allowed. So we're getting really engaged in a very multifaceted, multidimensional, multiplying energies that are out there in the three-dimensional world. And they're dragging us in, right? They're dragging our feet down almost. I don't know if you guys have ever felt, I'd love to hear, if you guys have ever felt in most recent months, I know I do this a lot on Facebook, I'll say to myself, I'm staying out of the arguments, I'm not going to get political, I'm not going to weigh in on anything. And I'm a strong person, I have opinions, but I'm not going to go into that. I want to just be, really positive and stay positive. And then before you know it, you're texting and you're typing and you're like, how the hell, And then it's almost like someone has you by the feet and is just dragging you into this place, right? And then you realize, oh no, this isn't who I want to be. and you kind of cut that cord and you're no longer dragged down. Now you're raised higher, and you're a little bit higher than you even were before you started that engagement. That's the reason. That's the reason for it. There's energies that are dragging our feet. They're pulling at our feet. They're nipping at our butt. They want us to be engaged. They want us to get angry. They want us to act out, because that brings out the passion that when we turn inward will make our energy rise, will make our octave rise, will make us ascend as people. So when that stuff happens, just remember it's happening to confront you with the polarity of who you are. And how many times do you engage after in that? Because I know I do sometimes. I'm human. I'm having the human experience. And you engage, and then afterwards you'll delete, or you'll like realize you shouldn't have done it, because that's not really who you are or who you want to be. And that's the key. This energy is all happening to show you who you really are, and to show you who you really want to be, and how you are integrating this energy and what you're doing with it. And so that's why this has to happen. It's almost like the warlike energy, these phases that we're going through have to happen so we can keep rising higher. Because each time we get pulled down and bob back up, we bob up higher than where we were to start with. And so that's how I felt after this episode where I couldn't sleep with the Aquarius full moon and my heart issue. When I finally understood that I needed to integrate the energy and be authentically who I was, then ultimately that morning, I was 10 times higher in consciousness than I was when I had gone to bed the night before. And that's what this energy is doing. It's giving us opportunity to raise our consciousness. So it becomes like little things even. You know, everything's got us all so aggravated that, okay, you're driving in the car and you pull into a parking lot of a store you want to go to, and you want to get in the store and get what you got to get and go home. And there's a car in front of you and it's really driving slow. And you're so aggravated with this that you're going to start yelling at this driver who can't hear you anyway. And you do it. And then after you do it, you're like, why did I do that? I really don't want to be that person. That's the key. Realizing in the awareness of, wait, I'm higher than this in consciousness now. This doesn't feel right. I'm aware of it, whereas before I may have done it and never been aware of it. And those little nuances, those little times that we keep raising our consciousness a little higher, so that maybe the next time we're in that situation, we don't act like that. That is the elevation of the spirit, the consciousness, the heart opening to be more love and loving ourselves and sending that vibe out to the universe. So it's something as innocuous and subtle as that. It doesn't have to be the great awakening like, you know, I have when I do my drumming or whatever. It can be something very subtle when you become in the awareness of what your true identity is. So all this 2020 stuff that keeps pushing our button and aggravating and is so annoying, all these little nuances, it's doing it to show us we rise above and we rise above and we rise above. And each time we do, that becomes our level of living, because now we're living an octave higher, and we're living an octave higher, and we're living an octave higher, until we really get to a point where we're all really vibing high, so high that those things don't annoy us anymore. So that was really what I came up with on Monday. I think this is a really pivotal time for the planet. I think that this is a pivotal time where energy is opening. And that brings me to August 8th, 2020, which is Saturday. And Saturday is what we call Lion's Gate, or Lion's Gateway. And what Lion's Gateway is, and it happens every year in the 8th month, on the 8th day. And this cycle actually goes all the way back to the Egyptians. If you actually ever have the opportunity, I haven't yet, but I hope to, be at the pyramids on 8/8 during Lion's Gate. It's a homage to the star Sirius. And Sirius is the brightest star that Earth can see. It's actually 26 times brighter than the sun. On 8/8, Sirius is the closest to the Earth it can possibly be. So if you go outside, you'll probably see it. It's visible in the night sky, the beautiful star Sirius. It's a fixed star. It's always in the same place, but it happens to be closest to Earth based on our rotation on the 8th day of the 8th month. The pyramids at Giza, when Sirius is closest to the Earth, are actually aligned so that you can see it rise above the pyramids in Giza in the constellation of Orion. And it's believed that that's one of the stars that the Egyptians worship because it stands for abundance. The number 8 also is abundance, is prosperity, it's mastery. 8 is the infinity symbol, right? Endless energy, endless opportunity, endless abundance, endless awakening, endless conscious raising. And so this goes back thousands and thousands of years, and many who are spiritual will celebrate Lion's Gate as the day when we infuse light into ourselves, because the brightest star in the heaven is closest to our earth, and it's also aligned with the sun. So it is a very, very auspicious day for light. And especially this year, because we have so much of this energy coming into us in 2020, this light energy, this powerful energy for awakening coming in. Lion's Gate is especially accelerated and amplified. So this will bring an increase in much energy of light, abundance, and even some spiritual people believe actually alters our DNA to give us awakening codes. So it's really important to work with that energy. And that's also one of the reasons why around this time of year, people get the heart flutter and they get energy coming in through their heart chakra, because the light is the most powerful right now with the sun in Sirius. So Lion's Gate is really something to be celebrated. This is expanding our light. It's expanding our ability to love, because light is love, right? So be aware of your frequency. And if you maybe even can go outside on Saturday a little bit, just absorb some light, and allow this to allow you to go higher. And choose to go higher in light, in frequency. And I'll bet you if you do some kind of a meditation, allow that light to come in your crown chakra and come down into your heart space, you'll probably find afterwards that you feel much more empowered, much more energetic, and really infused with the light codes. What this will also do is align you with the power of the world grid, which means the energy across the world and the alignment of that. So this is really about coming into our higher power. And that's why all of these things, although they seem negative in 2020, they are all happening to align us with a much, much higher power than what we ever dreamed possible. And all we have to do is allow it to flow through us and meditate on light a little bit, especially on the 8th of August. I'm just going to look down at my notes for a minute. And okay, so I was talking about the pyramids, right? And one of the things we can do during Lion's Gate that's really wonderful is if you can meditate even on a pyramid shape. And think about, pyramids, the reason why they're supposed to be so sacred is because the point of a pyramid attracts light. And then the base of it gathers that light. So when we think of a pyramid, think of light coming into your crown and bringing it down to give you a foundation, a base, a root into the world. And I really feel like when I think about the energy of 2020, it's a lot of uprootedness. We're getting uprooted from our beliefs, from our structures, and literally even this past week when this huge storm came up the eastern seaboard where I live in the northeast, it uprooted trees, like huge trees in my neighborhood, just like uprooted and toppled over. You can see the root systems. And I feel like this is indicative of 2020 uprooting us so that we can use light to form the basis to root us once again in a new space. And it's uprooted all of those structures that we thought were so vital to us. And now we can have the space to put new structures in to do a new world order, do a new us, do a new authentic us, and really go into what we want to show up for, what we want our life to be. I also felt this Monday when I was drumming and meditating, and I felt it again today when I was preparing for this broadcast. There's a lot of protection out there. And by that I mean, I said in a broadcast a while ago, I felt like there were angels circling the earth waiting for us to call and for them to help us and come in. And I feel now that we are also very protected, and I feel like it's off-planet energy. I feel like it's from distant places. And I'm going to leave it at that for you to interpret the way that you want, if you could possibly go in and feel. But I feel like they're really protecting the earth. And when I was preparing for this broadcast, I actually heard, we are here to protect you. So I think the earth is very protected right now, even though it seems like, we're going through a lot of stuff. I think that we're also very protected. I think that if we choose the awakening path, we're going to find a lot of abundance in our life, a lot of calm, a lot of clarity, So when I was talking before about, how we feel almost sometimes like our feet are getting pulled into the fire almost, or the polarity, or the differences of opinion, the warlike energy, right? One of the things I was thinking about was that that's an opening, if you think about it. Even though it's pulling us down, it's like we're going into an opening where our identity becomes our ego. Our identity becomes that opinion. Our identity becomes, hey, we got to say this. I'm not letting them get away with that. Let me weigh in, And I think the reason why that's happening is to make us aware that that's not our identity. Just like I used the analogy of pulling in the parking lot and you're getting annoyed at the driver in front of you, and then you get annoyed at yourself for being annoyed, because that's not your identity. And I think that this is a year, if I had to sum up 2020, it's a year when we're being shown our false identity, and it's aggravating the heck out of us and frustrating us and making us really mad, because we don't want to be wrong, but we've been doing it wrong because we've been living in that fake identity. And now it's time to go into our real identity, the truth of who we are, and start really loving ourselves, putting love out in the universe, allowing ourselves to be vulnerable, and going to the higher consciousness level of who are you really, and who do you really want to show up to be. And for whatever years you have left in your life, when we get pulled down, keep bobbing up into a higher level of consciousness every time. And that is the way that we are going to raise the consciousness in the world, and that's how we're going to heal the world, and that's how we're going to fix the world. This is really about stepping into our higher power and aligning with a higher power. And we can all do that. We just have to become aware, and I think that's what we're doing. We hate it. We don't like it. It's really kind of sucks, but we are being shown our true identity. And for those of you who are around people who are really into the social media every day and putting their opinions out there, and just the argumentative combativeness, frustration, instead of losing patience with those people, realize the world is showing them who they are. It's up to them to own that and change, or be that and stay the same. And what I can tell you from the energy from Capricorn, Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn all coming together once again, hitting that point that we started out with in January, what I can tell you is that they really don't want you to be in the status quo. They want change. They're pushing and prodding and pulling apart anything that is the status quo to create change. So the next time you're shown your false identity, you may want to take a really good look. It's not pretty. None of us like it, but we have to do it if we're going to get somewhere. All right, so I'm going to look at our comments, questions, and anything you want to ask me, anything you want to weigh in on. I'd love to hear how you guys are doing. How you're dealing with some of the energy that we have coming in this year. Heidi, love you. Did a reading for her the other day. Wonderful, wonderful person. If you're up in the Saratoga Springs area and need Reiki or healing, Heidi Homer, absolutely fabulous. It is warp shift of the universe. Tony Washington, I have to tell you, it is accelerated to the 9th degree. I remember 10 years ago when I first started really open and was doing all my psychic work. I remember the guru that I was working with at the time, she said to me, my God, you're so accelerated, and things are very accelerated in the world. And that was when the decade began. Finished up this decade, the next decade, 2020 to 2030, is going to make 2010 to 2020 look like slow motion. It is so heightened out there. I think we're seeing some dinosaurs disappear, Tony. Won't name who they are, but I think they're going. And that's the other thing. The next 6 months of the year, and remember also, Lionsgate is in the constellation of Leo. That's where it takes place every year in August. That's why it's heart-based energy. Leo is the sun. It's the heart. It actually represents the heart of our body, physical heart space. That's why we're feeling all this. And the other thing I was going to say is the next 6 months of this year the 4 months of and into the 2 months in 2021, we're going to find that things are not only accelerated, but anything that is not authentic and truthful is going to be revealed, going to be called out. There's a lot of truth that's going to come out in the world. A lot of things are going to shift, and they've been doing that. But now it comes down to actually actuating. It's like the first 6 months of the year were the catalyst, and now the last 6 months of the year we're already in the 4 months that are left, become the actuation of the things we learned about in the first half, if that makes sense. So if we're in a holding pattern and you think that things are not being coming out, or things that are secretive not being revealed, they're going to be in the next few months. There's no question. And into January and February of revealed. January, February of 2021. And 2021 is a really different energy. We're ending a 200-year... Come on, this is all about light in the Lion's Gate. Look what's happening in here, man. 2021 is a really different energy. We start with a totally different phase. We are right now at the end of a 200-year phase of a lot of earth energy. That's why all the stellium in Capricorn's earth is heavy, heavy, heavy energy. And now we have fire because we have Mars in Aries. That's why we're having all these storms and things like that. Uranus is in play. A lot of electricity. I said that in the last broadcast. But what's going to happen when January 2021 comes in is we switch to a lot of air signs. And when we go from earth signs to air, remember we've been in like that heavy earth for like 200 years in one way or another. We switch now and Saturn goes into Aquarius. It's going to actually feel refreshing to us. It's going to feel like things lighten up. Like we're really in a new time. It's going to be more futuristic energy. The heaviness of the earthbound energy in Capricorn had a lot to do with structure. It has a lot to do with the past energy and relieving the world of patriarchal energy that's been around for a really long time. When we go into January of 2021, that's going to shift. And it's going to shift into futuristic energy of, okay, we saw this, we know this doesn't work, now what's the plan? You know, and it'll be that way in your own life as well. This year we've been shown a lot of energy about what doesn't work, what we have to adjust, what we have to change, where do we start our new phase. And in 2021, what's going to happen is it's going to be actuated. It's when things really start to change. We're not in this holding pattern of it. So yeah, dinosaurs disappear. Okay, so anybody have any questions? Anything they wanted to ask? Astrologically, psychically, if I can get something for you. Oh, that's wonderful, Pauline. You're going to do I have a best friend, Deb, that's actually going to turn 60 in this November, and she's having a big party as well. So yeah, the fifth dimension of unconditional love. And I have to say, I know there's a lot of healers, a lot of spiritual people out there who talk about this being, you know, kind of like a fifth dimension energy. I hope I didn't lose my feed because, okay, there it goes. A fifth dimensional energy. And I understand that, and I understand about fifth dimension being love and being, you know, a lot of no more negativity. I do spend time in the fifth dimension, but I feel like this is actually deeper than that. And the reason why I feel it is because I feel like it's almost the energy before we become unified with off-planet energies. And I feel like right now we are in a process where we have to deal with ourselves first before we fully go into 5G and into off-planet energy. I feel like five dimension for me, and I spend a lot of time in seventh dimension, but 5 dimension for me is when we really are unifying with a complete universe, all, you know, galaxies, etc. And right now I feel like we're taking care of the earth. This is a very earthbound energy, and I feel that there are protectors off earth circling us, around us, giving us protection. But that 2020 is really the year we're supposed to be dealing with ourselves and dealing with what's going on our own planet. I know I probably sound kooky to a lot of you out there, but this stuff's real. I think that you're probably, Joanna Maya is asking me, she said before she went to her friend's house, she saw 4 red canaries in her backyard at 4 corners. What does that mean? I'm assuming they were probably not canaries, they were cardinals. And cardinals are, it's strange because this year I'm seeing a lot of red cardinals, and usually they aren't around in the summer. We usually see them in the winter actually here in the Northeast. But I have to say that cardinals are very spiritual. A lot of times when we see cardinals, it could be spirits from the other realm, like someone who's crossed over in your life, someone who's passed over. But cardinals, I would say, if they were in the yard in the 4 corners, they were representing the 4 elements, the 4 directions, which would be earth, air, wind, and fire. What I will say about that is, to me, it signifies balance and unity. So there may be something in her life or yours that is balance, or it may have been a spiritual sign that you and she have balance between you, and it's a really beautiful friendship. But what I'm getting actually is that it's a message to be more balanced, that you need to take care of not just physical body, not just mental body, but you need to balance everything for your health. So that's what I'm getting. Janine says the energy is helping her focus more. That could be specifically for your chart, but it's also because we have Mars in Aries right now, and Mars in a fire sign, Aries, when used for a higher octave of assertion, not aggression, usually can make us really efficient and get a lot done. I've been that way lately. The lower octave of Mars in Aries is that we get aggressive. Also, Janine, I remember you are a Capricorn, so the energies right now for you are probably very heightened and have been for quite some time. But I think also in your personal life you've been more determined. So that could be helping you a lot. Yeah, and I know you've been working really hard to avoid negativity, so that's probably why you're more focused. Colleen says she's been cranky. I think with the cranky energy, and we've all been feeling a little cranky, not just because our power was out for 48 hours. We've been feeling a little cranky because there's some squares to Uranus and oppositions to Uranus, and Mars and Uranus. And when Uranus is in play, which it has been, it's a very strong energy. It's lightning. It's awakening. It's on the higher octave awakening. On a lower octave, it makes us impulsive and restless. And that interprets to crankiness. That impulsivity, that restlessness can make us really, like, we don't want to sit still. It's electrical. And so I think that that's what a lot of us have been feeling, that Uranian energy. Uranus is a big player for the rest of the year. So a lot of us are going to feel restless. We are going to feel a little cranky. The way to deal with that energy, believe it or not, is to try and put it into something productive. I had in my notes, actually, you just reminded me, thank you, Colleen, that was absolutely it was absolutely a divine intervention, because it was telling me to something else that I'd written out about, was that this is an absolutely great time to infuse. Yeah, here it is. There's so much, here we go. There's so much entangled energy that you don't want to get into, right? You know, whether it's things happening in your home, your family. I have some drama going on around my house, even though I don't really have anyone, you know, like that's dramatic around me. There's things just that happen. And so I really work hard not to get tangled in them. And what I do when I feel that crankiness and that annoyance come in is I channel it for something that's supportive and creative. So think of those words, supportive and creative. And I find when I'm cranky, as soon as I say those words, it makes me feel better. So give yourself support and creativity. Do something creative, something supportive, whatever it is. I feel like you do something with your hands. I don't know, I'm seeing crocheting or something for somebody out there. Knitting or crocheting that somebody's doing. Maybe you're doing it right now. But I feel that our crankiness can be alleviated by supportive and creative energy. So infuse the higher octave of that energy of crankiness with light and bring it into supportive and creative stuff. Yeah, I wrote that, see. So thank you for reminding me. And Chris says she's been having body aches. That's also sometimes our body interpreting the energy of our crankiness, of our imbalances, our misalignments, our dis-ease. It comes out in our body. Our body's trying to tell us something. I'm a big fan of Louise Hay. I know she's passed over. Hey, Louise up there. She writes about how to heal your life, and she corresponds everything in the body with a spiritual meaning. You know, even our fingers, each finger has a spiritual meaning. So you might want to look up where you've been having the body aches, because it could be very interpretive for you in your life. Sarah says her father always visits as a cardinal. Yes, my father as well. Many times those are definite visitations. For some reason, cardinals are very spiritual. I know there's a mythology behind it. I can't remember what it is right now. My head can only hold so much. I have to like dump energy to put the energy in. But what I can tell you is that I've also had occasion, I know many of my light worker friends, same thing, when we are either going to receive news of someone passing or someone passes, we see a cardinal. And it's happened to me on many occasions where I've actually been on the phone receiving news and a cardinal will fly in. So it's really interesting that that happens. Yes, definitely. That's a beautiful thing. Chris says to spend time in the garden. I have to tell you that I have been really beefing up my time that I spend outdoors, even though it's been so incredibly hot here in the Northeast. I try and go out in the morning before sun, gets really bright, and kind of watch the sunrise over the house or over the water where I am here. I go out in the evenings if I can. I spend time watering my garden or tending to that, or just sitting and watching the sky and the clouds, going to the beach and doing that. I find that that has been my salvation this past year, is really grounding myself in nature and allowing that light to come in and infuse me. I think that we all need to store some of that up for this winter. So thank you for that that little tip, Chris, because it's really important for us to ground in nature. I always say nature is so beautiful for us to really connect with spirit, I think, is what we do. So, oh yeah, not a studio. I know it's been so long, Pauline. I missed the studio. We're actually remodeling it. I was talking to Tony and Sally in GuzRadio.com about some finishings and things they want to do. It's going to be beautiful. I am actually creating a home studio. This is actually my home office I'm in right now, but I'm actually creating a home studio in my house because I want to be doing some other podcasts and other broadcasts that are going to be on YouTube, etc. We're really going to go a little more professional with a lot of things, so it's really cool. Always expanding, right? And this is what this energy is about. Chris, yes, Louise Hay, and for anybody out there, Louise Hay is classic. She's really well known for interpreting what our body does for the spirituality of it. Like, for instance, if you're having aches in your knees or your legs, it's usually an indication that for some reason you're not moving forward in your life, or you're being challenged by the energy to move forward in your life. So, there's a corresponding spiritual meaning with everything in our body. Back issues are usually you're not being supported or you don't feel supported. Root chakra and lower chakra issues are usually issues of security, abandonment, things like that. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is if you want to meditate on pyramids during Lionsgate, that's really beautiful. But the other energy that I would think would be really great also is the Merkaba. And for those of you who don't know what a Merkaba is, it's an 8-pointed sphere-like object. Almost looks like a star, but it's not because it's 3-dimensional. And I've had occasions in my life to meditate or do ritual under a Merkaba, and very powerful symbol. It comes from, sacred geometry, and it's just very, very powerful. So you may want to Google that and even look up, the Merkaba symbolization of abundance and power. I'm going to pick a couple of cards because we've got a few minutes left. And what I'm going to do is the first person to comment next, I'm going to go to the end of the feed, is the one I'm picking a card for. So everybody put in a comment because I know I'm not going to have time to pick a card for everybody. Who's it going to be? Because I have a delay here, so we'll see who's the first one. Last comment is Chris Cole saying, thank you, George. I'll look into Louis' house. Hey, so the comment that goes on after Chris is going to be the person I'm picking a card for. Yes, the astrology this month is very hectic. We don't have a lot of really strong aspects. We have a full moon coming in, I think, on a new moon coming in on the 19th, but we have a lot of aspects. So the planets this month are very fast moving. They're just not really intensely moving. So if that makes sense. And we still have a lot of retrogrades going on. So that always, you know. Okay, so is anybody going to be commenting here to get a card? It was John Mineta. John, where'd you come from? You're on fire, Johnny. You're on fire. Okay. Now, see, now you're all asking for cards. All right, well, I'm going to do as many as I can. You know I would never leave you guys hanging. You know that. I know you guys love your cards. You're a bunch of card whores. No, just kidding. Please don't write me letters. Okay, John. John and I have been going back and forth. John is the sweetest person in the world. He's a good friend of mine, and he actually checks on me all the time. And I always try and beat him to it, but he always, every day, checks on me first. You know, I won't need a life alert when I'm old, because John Mineta will be calling me checking on me every day on Messenger. He's so sweet, because I had, you know, no power over here in the Eastern Seaboard. All these millions. I was one of the millions. Okay, so this is for John Mineta. I'm picking you a soul card, Johnnykins. Okay, John. What the heck is this? Ooh, John. What is this? This is like the light of the world. Like the all-seeing light. I don't know. Maybe you've been challenged lately, but you shouldn't be, because this is like a lot of light coming in here. Look at this. It's like a womb. It's like rebirthing. And I actually picked 2 cards. That's why I was like, what is this? And this is the second card that I'm seeing. And this card is, let me just see this. This is going this way. John, you picked some weird cards tonight. I'm only kidding. You know, we have to have fun here in the soul space. I've never picked this card before in my soul deck, and I don't even know what it is. It looks to me almost like tears, but like the tears that are coming out are actually opportunity. Like when we have grief, but it's actually like an opportunity, because look at this card. It's almost like these tears, I feel like, and then it's hands. So I feel like whatever's going on in your life, these are just mountains that are challenges, and they're going to lead to some really, really cool places, because this is absolutely rebirth to me. This is like the light of the world being rebirthed out of the womb, like grieving something so deep and then being so cathartic. So whatever situation is coming to a head these last, I want to say 3 days, because I'm getting 3. Whatever situation is coming to a head, it's for the best. And I feel relief is coming for you. I'm getting number 3 days. So if it's been 3 days, I feel like something's going to happen in the next day or so by Saturday. So I don't know if that makes sense. Sparky is good, Chris. Sparky is my dog. He's a Wheaten Terrier. He is the best dog in the whole world. I don't want to hear about your dogs, because my dog is the best. And and Sparky is fine. He had surgery and he's good. I asked the doctor if he's going to live another 10 years, because Sparky's 10. And he said, do you think he's going to live 10 years? Was his way of kindly telling me, hell no. Okay, so that was John. Janine, this is for you. My other little... Janine is my Reiki junkie. She loves Reiki. Janine, you got teaching and learning, Archangel Zadkiel. Keep an open mind and learn new ideas, and then teach those ideas to others. I think this is talking about how you've been doing so great, you know, staying positive in your life, and there's going to come a time when you're going to reach back and help some other people be positive. So stay the course. Look at all that beautiful light you have around you. Beautiful, beautiful card. Next card I'm going to pick is a soul card, and that is for Chris Cole. All right. I know Chris has been having some challenges. If we could all just send her some violet light and some beautiful love, it would be beautiful for her, I think. Sending that to you, Chris. I love you. Chris, you also, rebirth is the theme of tonight. Look at this. This is rebirth, and you're rebirthing a whole new world. So if you're feeling aches and pains right now, that could be, you know, passing through the eye of the needle. Look at all the light around the head here. This is divine feminine energy. So definitely bring in the Blessed Mother. I think you and I have talked about that before, actually. Bring in that nurturing and nurture yourself. You have to nurture yourself. I always feel when our body is in pain and cries out, it's because it wants a hug from us. You know, it wants us to maybe go get a massage or something would be really great. And Sarah, I'm going to pick a card for you as well. Thank you for tuning in. You've been a very loyal fan. Building our audience. Just want to help everybody in the world a little bit if I can. I had so many people who helped me in my journey and still do. I have some amazing teachers and friends. Look at this. Again, rebirth is the theme, and not all these cards in this deck are like this. Look at this. Rebirth, again, the theme. It's like a beautiful robin's egg, blue egg. And this is absolutely mother for me. And I feel like this is something to do with children for you, Sarah. We look at the hands. It's surrender and nurturing. You've got the hands in surrender here, like allowing the energy to flow and birth. And then you've got gratitude here and feeling safety. And the hands, if you look at them closely, shape of a heart. So this is surrender, allow it to flow, the rebirth, the renewal, the abundance coming, and then the gratitude for it. You know you are safe. Okay? Nina, Rose, love your name. My cousin is Nina. And of course Rose, right? There's a whole story to why I'm Georgia Rose. That isn't my real name. Georgia is, but not Rose. But there's a whole story to how I got to be known as Georgia Rose in the spiritual realm. I'll tell that one day. So, Nina Rose, this is for you. Again, I just shuffled the cards and you got the same card. I think this was Chris's card. Again, rebirth. Heavy divine feminine energy coming out tonight. Beautiful light around the head. And also, I don't want to insult anyone, but if you look, like even the breasts are very full. You know, abundance. The shape of position of the legs. Surrender, abundance, allowing the world to give you, you know, a new birth, a new order, renewal, abundance, energy. So whatever you're thinking about, Nina, you are birthing something. Something is coming. All right. Transformation, absolutely, you got that right. And transcendence, definitely transcendence. Keep praying, Chris, because you're on the cusp of really some relief there and things coming up great for you. I have 5 minutes left. I'm going to pick a card for Gina Marie. I'm going to pick a card for you. I know you just joined us, but I'm going to pick an angel card for you. If I look tired tonight, it's because of not being able to sleep with a generator going all night. How many of you had that happen? Gina, you have Archangel Azrael. Archangel Azrael is a beautiful angel. She actually comes to me sometimes when I need peace and quiet. So this card is counselor, and it says you are a natural counselor and many people benefit from your guidance and reassurance. So if there's someone in your life that you've been speaking to or really helping or giving advice to, I think they're going to come back to you for something. I just want to say to you, Gina, don't overgive. If you look in this, there's all this light and there's a light being coming in giving her inspiration. But we cannot give to others unless we fill our own cup first. So please take care of yourself and make sure that you are as well nurtured as you are nurturing others. I think that's your message tonight. And RJ, I'm going to pick a card for you. And then I'm probably got like 4 minutes left in the broadcast. Does anybody have any questions or anything for me that they want to ask? I'm going to pick a card for RJ, and then I'm going to pick one for David. All right? I know we have a light audience tonight. I think a lot of people still don't have internet around here. But I usually get people from all over the world. Okay, so RJ, this is for you. It's Archangel Jeremiel, and it's overcoming difficulties. The worst is now behind you, and you are surmounting any previous challenges. So hang in there, because if you look, this beautiful bird, almost looks like a thunderbird, is coming up, and you've got light coming in, and whatever is difficult for you, whatever's challenging for you, you're going to overcome that. All right? That's RJ, and now this next card is for David. Okay, David. Wow, maybe this is your friend. I know you recently lost someone. It says, hello from heaven. Archangel Azrael, your loved ones in heaven are doing fine. Let go of worries and feel their loving blessing. So know your friend, and I think you said you had an aunt that passed as well. Just know that they are with you, and they're saying hello, sending you beautiful wishes. That's a beautiful card for you. So I think that was everybody. So my advice to everybody for the next few days, we've got Lionsgate coming in on Saturday. That's going to be very intense energy. It's going to be beautiful energy. So do some kind of little meditation. If it's a sunny day, go out in the yard and get some light to infuse you and bring you to a higher octave of consciousness. This is very intense energy. That's beautiful energy and can really empower us to not only be more loving and align with the energy of love in the universe, but it can also empower us to really know who we are and identify with our authentic self as we have the light come in to shine on that. So like I say, keep going higher. The next time you feel yourself dragged down into those opinions and those energies and that volatility and the drama, pop up even higher than when you first went in. All right? So, Joanne, I'll pick one card for you, and then I'm probably going to get booted off the broadcast because the remote server that they use only allows me 1 hour, and I'm in my final 45 seconds. Okay, Joanne, this is for you. Okay. Yeah, it's funny because when we were talking about the cardinal, I got the energy that you need to nurture yourself more. And this is, to me, nurturing. This is like a flower that this gentleman has, and you can see the dark. He's like in a cave. He's fear. And if he nurtures this flower, it will become bigger. And so the light comes in. So what I'm going to say to you is this is a card about nurturing to me. When I look at this card psychically, I feel like this is nurturing. If you feed this beautiful flower, it will come in and grow larger. And you are the flower. You need to give nurturing to yourself. Look at all the beautiful light on this side. Don't go into here where you're deprived, but nurture yourself back to the beautiful, beautiful full bloom that you can be. Okay? And I'm still on. I'm going to pick a card. If I get booted off, Pauline, we know why. And I'm going to do this really quick for you, Pauline. And then that's going to be it for cards tonight. Please tune in. You can find me on Zencuda.com on the internet. If you want to book a private reading, you can do so at Zencuda.com under services. If you want to be friends with me on social media, it's Zencuda Official on Instagram, and on Facebook, Zencuda by Georgia Rose. Wow, I don't know if you were here for the beginning of the broadcast, Pauline. I think you were. But this is, you got the tree roots, and I was talking about how this energy, use Lionsgate to infuse light into your head and let it root you into your authentic being. So maybe August 8th, Lionsgate is really important for you, and important for all of us. It's funny that I'm ending the broadcast with this. These roots are really symbolic for me of the energy right now into the world, and how we are really being shown our true identity and our true roots by being challenged. And every time we're challenged to act out a certain way, we pull ourselves back and go higher, we're forming deeper roots with our authenticity. So don't be afraid to be vulnerable. Think about who you are and put your roots down to the authentic person that you are. All right? I love you all. Gotta go. But I'll be back next Thursday at 6:30. And also, once in a while, I do much shorter lives on Facebook on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. So thank you so much for tuning in. Find me online. I would love to stay in touch and connect with you. This is the energy I source my life from. So have a great week, you guys. And do Saturday a meditation for Lionsgate. Let the light come in. Bye-bye. Where am I here?